What's up, y'all? I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. Texas Eagle Matt is back and soaring into the July edition of the CNS Newsletter. We have lots of delicious treats this month. If you're new to the channel, don't worry, I'll feed you this information like a mama eagle feeds her baby birds. We're talking about staying virtual with SAP, upgrading conditional ratings, COVID waiver extensions, snakes of course, and how to falsify your logs. It's gonna be a beautiful sight, baby bird.
Beautiful sight, baby bird.
All right, let's fly. Okay, you want to know how to fudge your logs? Too bad, I tricked you. We don't teach that here. The C in CNS stands for compliance, not see you in court. Okay, I'm sorry. You forgive me? Good. Now, subscribe to our channel and understand that false logs are still the #1 thing that puts drivers out of service, and that is even with the ELD mandate starting back in 2017. The FMCSA should have known better than to trust you sneaky little whippersnappers. Electronics, that'll never stop me from falsifying my logs, said the little whippersnapper. Look, I know that's not you, so why are some drivers falsifying logs? One reason, money. Whether it's greed from the drivers or companies setting unrealistic deadlines, it all leads to the drivers wanting to cook the books. Now that's the spicy meatball, 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 spicy meatball, 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 spicy meatball. Either way, I don't want to see good men do bad things. I've seen it happen too many times and I can't get it out of my head. The screaming, the pain, the agony. Every time I close my eyes, I can see them, I can hear them. Oh well, maybe I can help you. We want you to follow the rules that keep everyone safe on the road because we need you guys to keep on delivering loads. You aren't doing any good being put out of service, you big goof. It feels like everything is online now. Dating, ordering groceries, and talking to my boss. And now, SAP evaluations and assessments. Instead of going to see some old lady who's more interested in knitting than actually helping you overcome your problem, you can interact with someone who's operating some cutting-edge tech and actually wants to help. Just so you know, the Office of Drug and Alcohol Policy and Compliance, or ODAPC, has been allowing virtual SAP meetings since the start of the COVID pandemic. A strange time for all of us when we found ourselves at home, alone with nothing to do, nowhere to go, and the walls were slowly closing in on us. Ah! That's why when we're at the lowest point, it's important to have a professional help you overcome this trial. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and for someone in the trucking business, if you complete the rehabilitation requirements, you can have another shot on the road doing what you love. Anyways, if you are one of the unfortunate people that find yourself in the position that requires a SAP provider, the virtual meeting policy has been extended through December 31st, 2022. To take advantage of this privilege, you'll need the ability to have a real-time conversation with video and audio, good enough internet to have this remote meeting, long, lustrous hair like me, and I hate to break it to you, but you actually have to stop doing drugs. There you go, baby birds. Information meal #1 has been served. Speaking of COVID, the FMCSA has decided to extend the COVID emergency hours of service exemption all the way through August 31st, 2022. The FMCSA says it's because the supply chain is still being hit. Yikes, thanks Obama. For the most part, the extension applies to most items being transported that offer direct assistance and support to the COVID-19 relief efforts, including transport of items like food, medical supplies, and equipment, vaccines, fuel, and several others. What the exemption doesn't apply to are vehicles, building materials, and commodities that were specifically mentioned in previous extensions. Also, a requirement was added for carriers to report their use of the exemption within 5 days of the end of the month. Check out the full article in the description below for all the details.
You're tearing me apart. You're an independent contractor. You're not an independent contractor. What is it?
Well, now we know. I'm sure you've heard, but the Supreme Court denied review of the California Trucking Association case against the workers' classification law called AB5. Basically, this puts the law into effect requiring carriers to follow an ABC test in determining whether workers can be considered independent contractors. Typical California, fixing things that aren't broken. We have a much more detailed video on this topic. Just click the link in the top right of your screen to learn more. Quick reminder to all my baby birds watching, Brake Safety Week is coming August 21st to the 27th. It's gonna be a beautiful sight. Brake Safety Week is done every year and announced by the CVSA, so it should come as no surprise to anyone. What should come as a surprise is their unannounced Brake Safety Day, which happened this past April. There have been some changes to what constitutes a Category 4 violation, so check out the full article for more details on that. Now, I can't believe I have to say this, but there is a new group out there that believes the road should flow like a river, and that means no stopping, ever. They call themselves the anti-breakers. I'm not sure about you, but here at CNS we think stopping is a good thing. There might be an accident, a red light, you might want to stop at home sometime if you haven't gone full virtual, or you may need to stop when there's a sneaky critter in your cab slithering up your leg. So be vigilant and make sure your brakes are working, and be on the lookout for anti-breakers. They must be stopped and they must be silenced. The old media department is in the process of making a full-on brake safety video with all the information you'll need to spot a crack from a mile away. So subscribe to our channel and keep a lookout for that video in the near future. Snakes! Some of those little fellas could be dangerous too, so let's have Copperhead Chris break it down for you.
Hey y'all, with warmer weather heating things up around the country, y'all should know it's snake season. What does that mean for you truckers? Well, you're doing your pre-trip inspection, make sure you're checking for snakes in the morning and the evening. These snakes are cold-blooded and looking to warm up after the sun goes down, so they may head towards your truck and parts that retain heat from the sun or heat from operating the truck, like the engine compartment. Also, when you're on the catwalk checking hoses, looking for abrasions, cuts, and bulges, take notice to any new hoses that may appear. It's a snake!
So, last year during your first compliance review, your company received a critical violation under hours of service for falsifying logs. That's okay, luckily you didn't end up with a conditional rating, but you also didn't bother explaining this not so beautiful sight to your little baby birds. So, you go back to work and forget about it. Fast forward a year, after one of your drivers got hit with 2 more roadside violations for falsifying logs, and now, just today, there was an accident with injuries to all parties. Bad news, you were already on the FMCSA radar, but this accident is sure to trigger a second compliance review. Now you're in trouble. During the audit, more violations are found, as well as more hours of service violations, leaving you with an acute violation this time around. Either way, you were probably wondering how they were going to kill your company and why. Well, first, you didn't fix anything, which they noticed and are not taking lightly. Second, the fact that you've gotten multiple violations for the same thing will lead to much higher fines and either a conditional rating or an unsatisfactory rating this time around. In addition to that, you may also get slapped with a lawsuit from the injured party's lawyer specializing in baby bird law. Now you're liable for having a tired driver who falsified their logs and ran into a car. All of this just to get 2 more loads delivered for the day. Luckily, the FMCSA is a little more forgiving than a snake. They do give you plenty of opportunities to pick yourself up and get compliant. If this story seems all too familiar or you are the worrying type, let CNS help you. Click the link in the top right corner of the screen and learn more about our safety rating upgrade process. Then you can give us a call to get started with your upgrade. So, you got a conditional rating. Hold on now, we just got done talking about avoiding repeat violations. Didn't you learn anything? Well heck, it's too late now. Don't worry, it's not the end of the world. Our DOT compliance specialists are going to work hard to get you on the right path, building a corrective action plan for you to execute, and hopefully you won't see the negative effects that come along with a conditional rating, like higher rates or less work from brokers. It can take 60 days for your rating to go into effect, and you can still broker loads. But this time, a corrective action plan would be your best friend like a mama eagle is to a baby bird. Otherwise, brokers may drop you completely, and that's no beautiful sight. The corrective action plan is showing the FMCSA and brokers that you are working to fix your issues. Just remember that it can take up to 4 months for that upgrade to go into effect. Again, don't worry, you can still do your job and get loads, and CNS will make it our mission to keep the money flowing. Click the link in the top right for more on our safety rating upgrade process. I wake up every morning and you know what? I feel refreshed. Not only because I invested in Bitcoin back in 2013, not because I'm better than you, and certainly not because I'm 6 foot 5 inches. It's because of where I live. That's right, my location is why I save so much money, and the same thing can happen to you too. So if you're operating out of Detroit, I hate to break it to you, but you have the most expensive full auto insurance coverage. I guess Detroit can be number 1 in something. Once you settle on the location of your business, just know that the delivery radius matters. You should try staying within a 500 air mile radius for your first few years of business. If you can prove you're a Safety Sam, then it will make long haul trucking more affordable. Safety Sam is the perfect trucker and lives in Compliance City. He does 3 pre-trips and 3 post-trips before every delivery and struts around flaunting his safety record in everyone's face in Finetown, because the FMCSA has never even thought to give him a violation. Now that you know Safety Sam, listen up baby birds. This is a beautifully beefy subject, so I highly recommend going to the CNS Insurance website to read up on this. Check out the link in the description below. People need to look out for heavy metal poisoning. And no, I'm not talking about your kids listening to that devil music. I'm talking about construction workers, miners, and radiator repair shops, to name a few, who are often exposed to harmful metals such as lead, cadmium, chromium, mercury, and zinc. Large intakes of zinc, for example, can lead to one of many side effects, including nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, headaches, and more. If that sounds like you, then maybe you need to be tested for heavy metal poisoning. But don't run to the doctor too quickly. If you drank yourself silly over the holiday, or you're just a raging alcoholic that drinks on a Monday night, you might just be hungover. Lucky for you, the fine people at CNS Occupational Medicine can test for both. A heavy metal poisoning test is fairly simple. It just requires a quick blood draw that checks levels of lead, zinc, and other metals in your blood. If your levels are high, then you'll need to avoid exposure to said metals and be retested to ensure the levels are dropped. Okay, I know that sounds like a lot, but really we're doing all the hard work while you're just getting an easy prick. And all good baby birds get candy after that, and I think that's a beautiful sight. All right, we did it. I fed my baby birds a lot of knowledge, and you ate it up like sloppy joes at grandma's. Sloppy joes. Sloppy joe, slop, slop, sloppy joe. All right, see you next month, where we're gonna be talking about trucking and compliance universe. Peace.
Little baby bird.